How do you work with your partner to co-create these stories while staying connected?
I find that people that come from countries or regions that have a very, very strong instrumental influence in their music, they usually connect more in Brazilian Zouk or in salsa, bachata, to the instruments.
And here, very honestly, I personally have a hard time visualizing my social dance, particularly as storytelling, maybe consciously so.
To me, it's exactly listening to a story that the music is telling and trying to almost do interpretive dance, because the music to me already has a story. So it's like a three-way collaboration between the three of us, me, my partner, and the music.
So there is a really important step to it, which is connecting with your partner in a way to see how much your partner is game to embark into this journey with you.
I'm not off time. I'm just being musical.
You did your whole thing, but you didn't do it with me. You did it by yourself.
Hello, and welcome back to ZoukNerds. We are here together in person. Alisson Sanji and the amazing Gui Prada.
Hello, everybody. We are together again.
Yes, we've been together before, but this is a whole new experiment that we want to do and to bring to you guys, where we're not only going to be doing our usual thing and sharing our experiences, but we're actually going to be picking questions from our Facebook group, so from you guys, and discussing here. Consider this a one-on-one Q&A, perhaps, as if you met us in person and you bring us a question and we share our stories.
We have selected here a question from Amit Hampurkar, and he's from LA, correct?
Lives in California, if I'm not wrong. Yes.
Amazing. And he posted like a really interesting question here about storytelling, about creating a whole story when social dancing. Yeah, so basically, he mentions that he has been trying to create more meaningful stories through dancing by channeling some emotions, and that sometimes he has a hard time crafting a complete narrative in his words. And then he has then 3 questions here for us. The first one is, does anyone else think of their social dances as a form of storytelling? Like, this question is a really interesting question.
Yes, we hear that a lot.
I have actually taught a couple private lessons where this was actually the topic, where in all the case was a leader actually wanting to create a story and having a hard time by doing so. And the second one, how do you approach creating and sustaining the narrative? And the last one, how do you work with your partner to co-create these stories while staying connected? So really cool 3 questions, and let's kick it off. Do you want to start?
Yes. One of the things that he did mention here is that he struggles to connect with the lyrics and he's more connected to the instruments.
There's that part too.
And there's a little bit of a cultural background here, because he also mentioned that he comes from Bollywood dancing. So I know the guy, he's from India, and he mentioned to me in class that he really loves the instruments and the beats, and he, almost like myself, loses control when the music is super, super strong. So then he finds that disconnect. And I told him, I actually have seen that as a pattern, depending on where you come from. I find that people that come from Brazil or South America or India, Middle East, countries or regions that have a very, very strong instrumental influence in their music, they usually connect more in Brazilian Zouk or in salsa, bachata, to the instruments. And then people that come, especially from European background and some parts of Asia as well, they're more connected to the voice, the melody, and the lyrics. So that's already a very good thing to observe, not necessarily to make an opinion or a judgment here, but it's something that you might recognize in your own dancing.
That's really true. Being from Brazil, we have specific bands where the drums, the percussion is a really strong feature of these songs. And Even like the popular music that people dance, like they're really more popular in the radios. Oh man. But really,
They still exist.
yeah, it's really more popular in the mainstream. There are more percussion related. While here in Taiwan, actually, I have been hearing music walking around in the cafes, in the places, and they truly are more melodical, more calm. It's almost like it was like a bossa nova, but without the style of the guitar.
It's interesting that you mentioned bossa nova because now, maybe for the first time ever, I realized that bossa nova is still Brazilian in the way the instruments and the lyrics are sang and kind of the rhythmic of the lyrics and the voice. But the main focus is really how the voice plays.
Yes, the poetry of everything.
Less than the traditional root samba, where the voice almost talks to the instruments, just like in salsa. When you hear there is a conversation between the instrument and the voice. But then when you look at bossa nova, I guess there's a mix there, but it's way more about the voice making the rhythm.
It's more calm. Yeah, it's a different melody. And yes, Amit mentions this, that he naturally focus more on the music than the lyrics, which for him adds a unique layer to how you experience interpreted dance. So to answer the questions, does anyone else think of their social dance as a form of storytelling? And here, very honestly, I personally have a hard time visualizing my social dance particularly as storytelling, maybe consciously so. Like I don't consciously think of my social dance as storytelling in the sense that I am channeling some emotional or something like that. It's more that I do have some idea of beginning, middle, and end. More in terms of how the dance is built. For example, not start the dance immediately doing all the things. I would start the dance shifting weights, walking around, doing the more basic stuff, and then evolving into something maybe more complex as the dance goes by. And as the music tells me things too. But I don't see that. I don't categorize it as storytelling necessarily. I don't know how that works for you. Do you see it like telling a story or more going through a progression?
To me, it's exactly listening to a story that the music is telling and trying to almost do interpretive dance because the music to me already has a story. Okay, so or maybe the DJ, as they are playing and doing their magic, they're trying to build a story or an atmosphere, a certain vibe or a certain journey with the music and with the way the DJ is playing with the music. So no, I wouldn't say that when I'm social dancing, I am storytelling, but I'm more like interpreting the story that I feel like the music and my partner and I are creating at that moment. So it's like a three-way collaboration between the three of us, me, my partner, and the music. But I do see how this is something that is really, really useful in specific training sessions or choreography. For sure. I have done that through choreography many, many times over the years and occasionally in training sessions. So that's where I really, really see it applying. Because when you think about social dancing, we fall into that issue of the leader having a mindset or an idea or a plan, and then going out in the social and inviting a person to dance with that has no idea what's about to happen, but the leader already has a plan. And then the follower is kind of like trying to figure out what is going on. What are we doing here? And we've discussed this before when we were talking about the Jack and Jill training issue, where sometimes a leader wants to train Jack and Jill and they just invite people to dance and they go Jack and Jill mode. And then maybe halfway through the dance, the follower realizes what's going on. Oh, okay, my leader is training for Jack and Jill. They are not really asking me to dance with me. I think that could also be a problem if you are a storyteller and you don't communicate that with your partner. So if you do want that, maybe spare that for some specific training sessions outside of the party, or if you might have a friend who is into it, go and ask them for a dance and tell them, why don't we do an experiment now? The music is just right and I'm feeling something. Do you feel that thing? Can we play with that at that moment? Otherwise, I don't know. I think there could be an issue with how the followers are enjoying this.
Yeah. I have seen this mostly in private lessons, really, when the leaders come and they say, I'm having a hard time expressing my musicality to my partner when I'm dancing. Can you help me with that? And then when they showcase what they mean by it, express my musicality, is really sometimes they go. they just go. The music begins and the person's already going. So there is a really important step to it, which is attuning with your partner, connecting with your partner in a way to see how much your partner is game to embark into this journey with you. There is a word in English that is very unknown, but I'm going to say here, and then you're going to go into the dictionary and look it up.
I might have to do the same. Let's go.
It is actually almost the same as it is in Portuguese. The word is ludic. Ludic. Yeah. In Portuguese is lúdico, which refers to storytelling, which refers to this space that is more metaphysical. Yeah, you are channeling archetype. You are channeling a story, and then through that, you create your dance.
Is it like a persona, creating a persona in the moment?
It's more, maybe yes, maybe no. I don't know, just 1 second. Let's see what ludic is here, because it's related to storytelling. And it's a term that we used to use a lot back in my training in Rio. So ludic means showing spontaneous and indirect playfulness, which is going into this different place in your mind. There's not so much into the technique. That is not so much into doing things correct. It's more into connecting with your partner and play. And inside the play, we do have the aspect of storytelling, of channeling the music, of channeling whatever it is that the music is guiding us to think. So I remember these specific trainings that, for example, Jaime used to play this very traditional Brazilian Zouk song. And he would ask us to imagine where people are when they're singing the music, where are they when they're listening to that song. And they would say, imagine that you are on a beach about to meet your partner, and your partner is right there looking at the sunset. So there's all these visualizations, and we would go with this intention in mind. And the most important thing is, like we were saying before, how much your partner is gaining for it. Because if they are not, it is not going to work at all. And it reminds me of a very specific private lesson that I was telling Alisson here before we started, which was really interesting. I was with a friend teaching the private lesson, and the leader said, I cannot convey my musicality to the followers. They seem not to understand. And the leader has had a very particular, very confident idea about his own musicality. I know what I'm doing. I know my stuff. And then
those typical ones. I'm not off time. I'm just being musical.
Exactly. And then my friend said, okay, let's dance. And then as soon as the music started, before we said, play the music that you like to dance. We want to see how you express yourself in the stuff that you really like. Then he plays. And then from the get-go, he went. He went in and out and all the possible adjectives. And my friend just stood there kind of moving her body. And then by the end, she said a very simple thing. You did your whole thing, but you didn't do it with me. You did it by yourself. And then he was all flustered. No, but look, she said, look, I could have done everything that you was leading me to do. However, the fact that you did not connect with me in any way before took me out of this idea.
And I think it's important to mention that this friend that you're mentioning is somebody who is a master of dance.
Yes. She's a master of dance. She's a master of engaging. She's a master of bringing you in to her vibe, to her universe. Yeah. So she doesn't like nobody. And it was important for him to listen that from her specifically. So in that case, for me, it was like, I'm just sat down and agreed with everything that she was saying.
She's a specialist on that note.
Exactly. Because there was one part here that Amit mentions. I often find myself struggling to craft a complete narrative. The emotions in the song tend to pull me in a different direction. And by the end of the song, I sometimes feel a disconnect as though the story has broken. And this is really related to me when I read this. And I don't know how you feel, Master, about this. It's more relating to a frustration that comes when an expectation that was created is not fulfilled. So you had an expectation of creating a story, but the music that you're listening to doesn't really help with the initial intention. You and your partner did not connect or found attunement to the level that would help you go through that story. And therefore, you feel that frustration in the end, or you might feel a frustration in the end because that story that you're trying to create had broken. So I think in the end of the day, maybe understanding storytelling from multiple perspectives, from multiple points of view, you can understand storytelling not necessarily from the perspective of really creating a narrative, but maybe creating a path, maybe creating a road that you go through with your partner in a very practical way, like it works for me. We think about movements. We start with the simple stuff, and then we go, all the way until we find a connection, a rhythm with each other, that we can go into something more complex, that we can go into more expression, more face, and stuff like that. So, I don't know, something more broad, maybe, than the idea of a story that is connected to a narrative or something like that.
Yeah, being the moment, being connected with the moment, being present. Because I think there's an expression that says the expectation is the thief of joy, right? So always thinking about, okay, I had a desire maybe of doing something, and that thing is not coming alive at that moment. So then reshift, refocus, and think, okay, what else is here? And what else can I have joy from? How else can I adapt to what is happening at the moment? Maybe I thought I was ready, but then the moment didn't happen within me. And then I'm blaming the partnership and the connection and the music. But really, just connect with the moment, be present, and understand that, yes, storytelling is beautiful. People who can do this are like masters, and they're gifted, and they trained and learned so much about it, which is not something that I do socially. There's nothing wrong with it, but I think as long as both are in the game to play that game, everything is fine. Even the Jack and Jill training that I mentioned before, or storytelling training, or maybe just the other ways to dance Zouk, like more high energy, more lower energy, lots of traveling and Wi-Fi, no traveling at all, just staying on the spot. All of these things are part of our community, and we embrace it, we enjoy it when the moment falls into place, or when we have certain intention to it and we agree with our partner to do that in that moment.
And in the end, you're going to find someone that is going to go with you right away, and you guys are going to tell a beautiful, amazing, crazy story. It's going to be amazing. You know, you will find people that will be in tune with you in that sense. That's for sure. The thing for us, I think, in the end, for me especially, is just broaden the spectrum of what is possible and the possibilities and what comes to creating a connection with someone when you are social dancing.
All right. So I think that's it for this question. Thank you so much, Amit, for posting this and sharing your experience and being with us in the group. And for those of you who are listening and watching, if you want to maybe have your question answered in a future video, please share them in our Facebook group, ZoukNerds, and we'll see you in the group and in the next episode.
Bye, everybody. Thank you for coming.
Thank you very much. Beijos, beijos. Abraços. Tchau.